Hey there, this is Birch, and I want to do it. This is a video about commentary, about comic commentary, and also serves as a bit of a checkpoint. When I set out to do this channel, what I knew was there are days when you're very busy and days when you're not busy. And so I wanted to get a lot of content built up. And for many months, I had this idea and I would write down notes and I'm like, I'll go home and I'm going to record some things or, close the doors and record some things. But it never happened. Life has a way of just filling empty space. So kind of the aha moment for me was, hey, I drive every day, half an hour each way, um, at least. So why not, throw in the old ear pod and record this on the phone? And I wouldn't get great quality, which was kind of a shame because I bought a microphone and a pop guard and all the rest of this stuff. But this is a way that I could record content while I was driving, and I'm going to be best, at least for me. I don't know if best for good content people want to listen to, but best for me when I'm just talking off the cuff because being in a comic shop is a little bit like being a bartender. You learn to just kind of speak your mind and have conversations and engage people, and you can do fairly well off the cuff. And I've been trying to remove the standard things. Don't say don't have long pauses. And I'm as you've heard clearly from these videos, I'm hit and miss with that. But try practice makes perfect, right? So I filled up a bunch of videos, got a lot in the bank, so to speak, and then I started making some new ones, and I've shuffled them around a bit, responding to feedback, cutting down that intro a little bit, and doing some other things to just try and get to the content faster. But I'm at the same time I'm making modifications, but I'm not doing, I think, obvious things that would make the channel more popular. Would I love to have thousands of people listening to this? I mean, I guess my mind can't really wrap its head around that idea. So it's never been my goal. My goal is not to come out and wave a flag about how popular I am. My goal is just to put some content out there, and maybe, for lack of better words, therapy. Um, for me, I don't know about for you guys, but that's what I'm doing. But it got me thinking about comic commentary and just commentary in general. So YouTube has a whole market for people who come on and talk about things. And there's the videos that are really well produced that have kind of a lot of work, a lot of care put into them, flashy graphics and all the rest. And then there's ones that are, people with comic books on their laps and they're reading away. And there's, and everything in between. Well, I'm not going to be the flashy video guy. I mean, unless I really want to, get thousands of dollars and really push for monetization and go down that path, that's just not going to be viable. And at the same time, there are a lot of videos of the person just kind of rambling like me. So one of the questions I've asked myself is, does the world need this? Do we need another channel, another set of videos just talking about comics? Because there's a lot of those, and who needs this content? Um, and the other part of it is a lot of the content starts to follow the same trends over and over. It starts to, typically very negative. Negativity sells a little bit more. I mean, if you're really railing on something, it can be, especially if you get a style down, you can be pretty funny and you can really kind of get some momentum going. But um, kind of as I said before, it feels like that ground is really well covered. And if I was going to come on and talk about everything that bugged me, I don't know what new I'd be offering. I mean, to you, the listener, why? At that point, you're just listening because you like my voice better than somebody else's voice, or maybe I come up with some funner insults that can be used other places. I just don't know what the point of that would be. But what I am sure about is that comic commentary is very important. And this has been one of the things that I kind of cringe always when I see, professionals, people in the business commenting about, oh, we don't need another YouTube channel. Well, Yes, I mean, for the reasons I gave, I wonder if we need another YouTube channel. Meaning, is the topic so well covered that there's no point to it? When I put up the Major X review, I noticed there were dozens. I mean, and probably close to 100 Major X reviews. So what was I doing anything valuable there? And that's why I'm going to steer away from a lot of the new comic reviews, because there's tons of people doing it. I think we need to have something new going on. So I do question that part of comic commentary of if you're not bringing something new, what are you doing? But on the other hand, I'd rather have that problem than shut down commentary, because the one thing that I believe is true, and I think every creator, everybody would agree, is that the more people talk about comics, the more people invest time and energy into these characters and these topics, the more alive they are. And the world does not need 8,000 roasts of just people bagging on a creator or a comic, but the world does need passion, and it needs attention, and it needs this kind of drive. I think that's really important, and I think when people stop talking about comics and characters and where they'd like to see things go, then I think that the whole business suffers pretty dramatically. I mean, getting people talking about something is important, even if some of that talk is negative. Obviously, you can go overboard with anything, but I'd rather have channels and channels of negativity than channels of silence, just no channels. I do think that as the business progresses, I think you're going to have more people engaging. And I'll go back to something that was said. There was a digital panel with a friend of mine years ago at Comic Con, and Matt Fraction was on it, and it was a panel talking about what's the future of kind of digital, what's the future of comics. And the main purpose was to compare a lot of stuff that was going on in Japan and reading comics on a phone and accessibility and those things. But Fraction said something that I think was wise and ultimately ahead of its time, and that was, when are we going to get to more fan engagement in comics? When are we going to have a system where fans could go in and remix comics, or take moments and change them around? What if a fan wants to have a different set of dialogue? At what point can a fan not buy a comic digitally and click on the layer for the dialogue and change it and modify it? What if, for example, a fan who didn't like the way kind of Bendis worded his comics, or put, the amount of speech bubbles he had, but they did like Bendis's plotting, his overall kind of ideas for story structure and arcs and things. So what if a fan took that comic, paid for it, and then remixed it with less dialogue, maybe more snappy, and then put that out into the world to say, hey, here's my version of this comic. What if, for example, you could buy a comic digitally, and then when you bought it, you could see the 4 or 5 or 20 or 500 remixes that fans did? What if that was part of an a la carte service? That would be kind of interesting. But it all comes down to commentary. I think commentary is important, and I think the industry needs to be a little bit braver in accepting that there is negative commentary and being able to handle that. I had a dialogue with a creator who I respect a lot, sells a lot of books, a very good guy, and it was pointing out to me, look, uh, the negativity. It's not just negativity; it's over the top, angry, stalking hatred that's coming out. And I was kind of in a not argument, but at least a debate with the guy, saying, yes, that is there. It absolutely is there. But the problem is, all commentary is getting blurred or painted with that brush. If somebody says, I didn't like Spider Man, then there's a knee jerk reaction right now to say, oh, you don't like Nick Spencer and his politics, and you're a Trump fan. You get from, I didn't like this comic, to, you're a hateful bigot Trump fan, really quick. And there are, I'm sure, some hateful bigots out there who are saying nasty things. I mean, I'm not just sure, I'm positive. You can go on Twitter. You can see these things. You can see this behavior. You can see people sending death threats. You can see people saying things like women shouldn't be allowed to write comics or be in comics, or all female characters need to be in thongs or whatever. You can see those people saying that. The thing is, it's a very small amount. And I think the problem is that that little small amount has both been really loud, really nasty, and really jarring to people. And I think it's been signal boosted heavily. Where if for example, if you are a musician and you make a song and you play that song and there's 10 people and one person, 5 people like it, 4 people don't, and one person calls you a ugly slur, you're gonna, human nature is you're gonna react most to the ugly slur. You're not gonna react as much to the positive. You're not gonna react to the negative. You're gonna react to the super, super negative. And very quickly in your mind, all the negative gets painted under that umbrella or painted under that umbrella. That makes no sense. It gets all painted with that brush. It gets all shaped by the super negative comment. And that's we shouldn't be too hard on people who do that. It is human nature to do that, to categorize things in that way. But it's not helpful. And I think it goes back to, I'm going to keep reinforcing the same point. Commentary is important. Even commentary that's not positive is important because it's somebody engaging with your book. It's somebody engaging with, the character, the property. It is valuable to accept that. And I think, and granted, this is easier said than done. Totally easier said than done. But it's better to accept a little bit extreme negativity and have to deal with it than to shut yourself off to all commentary that is in any way negative, because you're shutting off a huge portion of your fan base. And I think it's just not, you can't live life that way. You can't, there's no business where you can behave in such an extreme manner and succeed. So commentary, I think commentary is really important. And I think what we need to do as a community of everyone, creators, professionals, publishers, I'd say distributors, but what's Diamond going to do? Retailers, fans, readers, retired people who are now fans, whatever it happens to be, we need to find ways to keep growing and encouraging this community. And if that's with more YouTube videos, even if there is redundant content, then so be it. If it's with more social media, then so be it. One of the things I really want to promote is, and it's sad because I'm sure I'm muted or who knows, but Eve Ewing, who's doing Ironheart, who has been beat up consistently online for a wide number of reasons. Some, some that have some merit, most that don't. She goes on Twitter every single issue and she does some, writer's commentary. She talks a little bit about what she did, how she crafted it, what she put in place, and I promote it. I thumb up it every single time. Ironheart as a title is not my favorite title. It's just, and I by that I don't mean it's bad. It just means I'm looking for something different in a story. But I think the comic is solid in how it's written. I have no complaints, and it's slowly gaining traction. It's gaining an audience. But I think this thing she does of going in there and really putting the work in to explain, here's what I was thinking, here's what's happening with the story, here's kind of some of how it was made. That's gold, and very few creators do that level. And so Eve needs to be applauded, hands off applauded. And I'll do a whole video on it at some point. And I don't care if there's a big group of people on social media who want to say I'm a X, Y, and Z because I'm complimenting her. She deserves it. That's what's good for comics. It's commentary. It's commentary from the pro, from the creator, and it leads to commentary from the fans, and that's healthy. And I think that is something that we all need to encourage. So it goes both ways. I think that pros and publishers, they need to, encourage commentary, and that means not getting so bent out of shape when the commentary doesn't go your way. And I think the other direction, the fans, they need to do a better job of accepting when, if a comic book is not one they like, but the creator is still invested in pushing and helping promote and explain what was done. Good. You should clap that. That is a good thing. And that's commentary is really important. So at the end of the day, is this channel needed? I don't know. If you're listening to it and you're getting enjoyment, I'm glad. mission accomplished. It's been fun for me to talk through these topics, and I'll continue to do so. But let's keep the commentary up, the dialogue open. That's really important. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, notify, recommend topics, anything. I'm happy to hear from you.